Hello everyone, this is Miriam. Welcome to Inspire, the online show Inspire. So for those who don't know what Inspire is, and you've missed my first video where I introduced the channel, alright, so Inspire is basically me bringing a platform for discussion to talk about things that I believe matters and things about the society and things that really I feel that a lot of people will be able to relate to, and to just bring on that platform. So for the second episode of Inspire, I want to talk about rejection. And rejection, I want to talk about rejection because I believe a lot of people go through that, and a lot of people don't like being rejected. Rejection in terms of, family rejection, friends rejection, not just not being able to fit in. And I think it's a topic that is very sensitive because everyone want to fit in. As humans, we want to fit in. We don't want to be rejected. We want to fit in. I want to talk about rejection and share some of my experiences and give you some tips about how to overcome rejection and how to be okay with just not fitting in. So I just want to give you some tips about how I overcame rejection myself and some of my experiences in that area. So alright. So I was born in France, in 1994, and I moved to the UK in 2008. And growing up, I faced rejection. Is actually something that I hated so much. I literally would not go to people because of the fear of being rejected. I'd rather not have friends than to be rejected. Or if I wanted to have friends, I sometimes had to change the way I was just to fit in. I just craved I just craved human love so much, and not necessarily because when I say I face rejection, it's not because France is a country that I just didn't fit in, or it has nothing to do with that really, but it's more personal and individuals and how some people are just mean. Alright, so in preschool, I remember one or two girls who are just really mean in preschool. And when you're a child and you go through that, it just really sort of affects you, because when you're a child you're very innocent, and when you face some mean people, it kind of leave a mark on you. So I kind of faced that in that aspect where some girls were just mean, tearing up my hair and all that. Also, I grew up in a neighborhood where everybody knew each other. It was the sort of neighborhood everybody knows everybody's business. Like sort of, if I was in America, it'd probably be a country, the countryside where everybody knows each other in kind of that aspect, So everybody knew each other, and a lot of people didn't even know I lived there or my family lived there because I literally never went out of my house. So I lived there almost all my life, like 13 years of my life. But a lot of people didn't even know that I lived there because I never really went out. And I had that sort of routine. I'm the kind of person who hates routine, and I had that sort of routine where you'd be going to school, going to church, going to school, going to church, grocery shopping on Saturdays. It was that sort of routine that I had, and I hate routine so much. That was so bad, and maybe because of that neighborhood where everybody knew each other and everybody spoke the same languages, because there were a lot of Middle East people, the Arabic people, so everybody kind of spoke the same language, and I was like the African in the place, so the West African in the place. I love other cultures and all that, but it's like I never really made proper friends. And I think because of that, I was a bit insecure in myself. And not only that, but in school as well, when you're not confident in yourself, you never really do your best. And I remember in school, I never really did my best in school because I looked around, looked at the other girls in my class, how beautiful, how smart, how because the way I look right now wasn't like this back then. And I never really spoke about this publicly, but I just thought, hey, let me speak about it now. And growing up, when I saw all the beautiful girls in my class and all that, and the girls that I thought were the teacher's favorite, and I looked at myself with a big coat and with my hair all over the place, and that I just didn't have confidence in myself to even work hard. The thing is, I was smart, I was so smart that I was even elevated in one of my classes. Like I was put in a different class in terms of, you know, because I was smarter than the other kids in my class. But it's a bit complicated. It's not that easy, you know. And as soon as I went to the other class, that's when I lost myself. I looked around and I told myself, I mean, who am I? I'm stupid. I have no qualifications. I don't look great, you know. So when I looked at other people and other girls in my class, that's when I lost confidence. And instead of supporting me, instead of having people that support me, some of the teachers weren't supportive at all, you know. Instead of looking at me in the eyes and saying, Miriam, you can do it, some of the teachers were like, Miriam, yeah, you're rubbish, you know. Not literally, but they were like, you know. And I remember when I had very good marks and high marks, some of the teachers, you know, as if they thought they need to kind of justify why I had high marks to other kids in the class. Like, don't worry, you know, Miriam has a high mark on this because of da 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 da. It's not that she's smart. It's like anytime I got a high mark or anytime I was doing well, I felt a need to justify myself, as if, you know. There was that, and you know, because of that, because I wasn't considered the smartest kid, I was rejected in terms of, you know, in group works. In group work, people really didn't choose me, or in sports, people didn't choose me. In class, it's like anytime I grew up and I went to a class, I always had that one kid that was just so mean, and that's what happened as well growing up. I literally lived to embarrass my existence, and then I missed so many classes because I didn't really want to face these kids. So, you know, when you face that, you just don't want to go to people because you're afraid of being rejected again. You don't want to go to people, you don't want to approach people, and you know, yeah, that's basically what happened. And when you have no confidence in yourself, you don't work hard, and that's what happened with me. It's because I looked around at what was going on around me. Because of that, I never did my best, and I never grew up knowing what qualities I had, what talents I had. I just did not value myself at all. But I had lovely parents though. I went to church, you know, but that just wasn't enough because I didn't know who I was. I didn't know that I am smart too. I didn't have teachers telling me that, Miriam, you can do it. That's why in 2008 I moved to the UK. My parents thought it'd be a great idea for me to move to the UK. Because you know, I had some great time in France though. It was not all that dramatic, but most of it, you know, I had so many insecurities, and that's why my parents thought it'd be a great idea for me to move to the UK. And because my cousins who were born in France as well moved to the UK like years before, and they grew up well, so my parents thought it'd be a great idea for me to move to the UK. So that's what happened in 2008, and I even prayed to God that I wanted to move to the UK because I mean I wanted to see my cousins, and I don't know, really craved another environment, you know. And what I was saying as well is when you have no confidence in yourself, you make bad friends, because you make friends that don't really value you. You know that this girl is not really someone you're meant to hang out with, but because you feel that nobody would accept you, you hang out with those who don't value you. So that's what happened. Anyway, I moved to the UK in 2008, and oh my gosh, I mean, yeah, it was fun, you know. Like, I mean, I was in a different country, and me, I've always loved traveling and going to other places. So that was like the Queensland, you know. So I was pretty excited, but with my insecurity, I still had a bit of insecurity left in myself, and this was even made worse because of the fact that I didn't speak English really well then. I was a bit insecure when it comes to my accent and all that. So I started school, you know, in 2008, and with the whole uniform thing, I just was not used to wearing uniform, and everything started all over again. The meet kids, and you know, I found it a bit hard to adjust to how life was then, you know, in terms of schooling, and you know, it's very wild. You know, school in the UK is very wild. So I was 14 then when I started school. I still faced a lot of rejection in terms of the mean kids. There were some really mean kids, and I was very stylish back then when I was a adolescent, I was stylish, you know, I had my hair all done with the hair extensions, and but all that was basically a camouflage because I was so insecure that I thought that makeup would make me look pretty. And I remember as soon as I got into school, the first place that I would go to would be the girls' toilets to look at the mirror. But despite how pretty I think I was, I never really attracted guys or anything like that, you know, but I attracted mean girls. In terms of, some girls were just so mean. And I remember, you know, being in class, in a science class, you know, I just started school, being in a science class, and a girl who was so mean, and what she did, she was next to me, she took her finger and she took out my makeup and she put it in a white blank paper and she circled it with a pen, and she showed everyone that, hey Miriam, see, she has makeup on. And I remember I did not even talk, you know, because I did not know how to defend myself when she did that. And I remember, you know, the same girl that did that was with me in so many different classes, and you know, she used someone else to be mean to me. She used her other guy friends to be mean to me. And I remember in English classes, sometimes they threw kind of paper balls at me while I was in front. And the funny thing is that before all that started, I was put in a class that I was very comfortable with. Like, everybody started liking me, and you know, and what happened is that I was moved to another class because I think there was just too many people in that class. I was moved to another class with less people, and you know, that's when it started. And back then I did not understand, but what I realized is that sometimes in life, yeah, God makes you go through stuff to strengthen you as a person, because I could have God could have just let me stay in that class where I was so comfortable. But anytime I felt comfortable in my life, I was moved to another place, you know, where I would feel uncomfortable. And I remember I would miss class on purpose to not be with these kids and to not be faced with rejection again. To the point that, you know, I was even put in the register to go to a psychologist. There was a psychologist in school, so sometimes, you know, and I liked going there because that means I'll miss class. And I think, you know, they talked about the fact that sometimes I missed a lot of classes, and that was the reason why I missed classes, were because I was insecure in myself. So the whole time for doing my hair, my makeup, sometimes I even missed class because I felt unpretty. So I literally missed class because of feeling not pretty. And then I remember, you know, the second or third week of being in that school, I didn't yet know how the UK system worked. So when I saw how everybody hugs one another, in France it's not really the hugging, it's the kissing the cheek. And when I saw how everybody hugs one another, I thought, oh, let me adjust to that. And I think I was in PE class, and there was some guy that I think he was making fun of me, trying to hug me, but I didn't know then, so I thought he was hugging me because, I guess that's the way of greeting here. And I hugged him. I tried to hug him like out of courtesy, you know. And the guy just went, what? And hours later, the rumors almost spread in the school that I was some kind of girl because I just hugged the guy. And I remember, you know, going to the tram stop and all the people looking at me as if, you know, I remember the guy that I tried to hug looking at me with all his other friends like, who is this girl? And who was I? I was so new. I was a French girl who didn't even know how to speak English. I just wanted to be accepted, and all these things happen. How do you go through life when you're being rejected for no reason? And I remember there was that, and because of that as well, I didn't really work well in the UK in class, and everything sort of changed. Everything sort of changed when I was in college. When, you know, first year of college, everything was so great. I felt so, I worked hard because teachers looked at me and told me that I could do well. Teachers looked at me and told me that I could do well. Teachers believed in me, and I had some cool people as well that I hanged out with. I worked hard. I had my best grades. You know, I was one of the best students in the first year. And things started changing in the second and third year, when, you know, because I guess I'm black, right, and people expect me to be loud, and I guess people expected me to be loud and like some of the other girls, but I was really quiet. So I remember in class, you know, some friends, you know, black friends, you know, proper like Miriam, you know, trying to basically make me be like, turn me into a loud person, because I wasn't that kind of person. I think they found it hard to accept. So because of that, I mean, I faced a lot of embarrassment, and again it turned into me missing classes because I just didn't want to face them. So all that rejection, all that non-acceptance of other people really was hard for me. It was something that I faced. But now I'm not going through that anymore. I faced so many things like that, yeah, that now it made me a stronger person. It just, you know, now I don't care about what people think of me because I faced that. But if I never faced this, if I never faced that, I probably would have still find it hard to go to people and that. But because I faced so many mean people, yeah, I don't care anymore. And now I know that it was something to grow me as a person, something to strengthen me. You know, sometimes in life you have to go through tests that to make you stronger. I started getting to know myself as a person, my qualities, what I'm good at, you know, the things that I'm, you know, I started realizing that me too, I'm beautiful. And sometimes when I looked at girls in my class, you know, when I was in France and, you know, I was like around 11 and stuff, you know, and thinking that I was so rubbish next to them. Now I think back and I'm like, Miriam, they were the same as you. They were not any smarter than you. You know, I just needed someone to look at me in the eyes and tell me that I can do it. And no matter what you're going through, and no matter how people reject you and how you feel that you don't fit in, know that you have potential. And that's one thing that I wish I told myself. I have potential. All the other girls, all the other people in your class, all the people around you that you think are smart and have all that guys like and have all the boyfriends and that, just know that you are beautiful the way you are. Just know that you are talented. Now all these people that rejected me and that, I even saw one of the girls, you know, the girl that took out my makeup, I even saw her not like, I remember not that long ago, and this girl couldn't even look at me in the eyes. You know, all these people back in France, because even my close friends in France were so, some of them were really mean. Even some family friends never knew that I could make it, never knew that this Miriam that always wear her coat and never goes to people and, you know, doesn't really look that nice either. They never knew that I could turn and never knew that God has a purpose for me. So now when they look at me, when I go back to France and they look at me, they're like, they respect me. They're like, oh Miriam, what? I saw your YouTube video that, and I saw that, and they all like go up to me as if I'm some celebrity or something, you know. It really was a gradual process. I remember, you know, as I told you, I remember there was a period where I couldn't leave my house without makeup, and I remember the first day where I told myself that I was going to get out without makeup. That was those longest minutes of my life. It was so hard, but after that I just didn't care. After that I didn't even wear makeup that much, you know. That's how I can share my testimony with you guys. Now I'm a completely transformed person, and yeah, I'll give you some tips about how I got over it. Kind of when you grow, when you get over that, when you get over trying to find satisfaction in other people, be careful who you make friends with. You be careful not to then be friends with people that are very insecure in themselves. You know, because if you're not careful, they could lower you. They could make you go back to how you used to be. So be careful to make friends that support you after that. Friends that are secure in themselves. Friends that bring the best out of you. You know, when you want to fit in, you tend to kind of change the way you are, you know, to kind of fit in. But what I tell you is never lower your standards for anyone, in terms of never do something that you won't feel comfortable to do and something that you know is not right just to fit in. Never do that. Now, what if you weren't born to fit in but you were born to stand out? Is it not better to stand out than to fit in? You know, so one day the right people will come to you. So until then, don't lower your standards and just be as fabulous as you are. But the thing with me is that I didn't even know I was fabulous that much. My parents told me and that, but the thing is, until you actually believe it, it never becomes a revelation to you. That know that it's going to pass. You know, what I mean by that is, like, I don't know, if some people are being mean to you for no reason, and even if you're going through some family issue where you just feel like your parents don't really love you anymore, or, you know, I don't know, you're going through whatever, people go through stuff, right? Know that, you know, if there's something that you can do to kind of make peace or do something about it, then do it. But if it's really something that there's nothing that you can do about, know that it's going to pass. Whatever it's going through, there's going to come a time where it's going to be in the past. So just know that it's going to pass, and that, you know, may strengthen you. And another thing that I think is one of the most important thing I can tell you is that stand up for yourself. Speak up. Without, you know, obviously walking over people and, you know, going wild with curse words. No, not like that, man. But know that, I mean, speak out. Speak for yourself. I remember, like, you know, when teachers used to put me, and sometimes I was accused so wrongfully. Things that are so not true, I was accused of doing. Like, I was the one who needed the most help, but I was the one that teachers I was the one that was not even helped that much, yeah. And I just, sometimes I regret it, and I'm like, why didn't you speak? So if you're being accused wrongfully, if people are being mean to you, speak out. I remember, yeah, me was so deep here that sometimes when we were watching a movie with the class, I wouldn't even breathe properly because I thought that I'll make too much noise while breathing. I was so brainwashed that much, yeah. Well, and now I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, Jesus, speak out. Just speak. Another thing that I'm going to tell you is some of the people that kind of are rude to you and some of their friends and stuff, you might think that they're going to be friends forever, and you might think that they're best friends and that, you know, they're doing this together and they're having fun, but you don't know that years down the line they're not going to still be friends. You know, people that are mean, yeah, people don't keep in touch with people that are mean. You know, so even if you see two people that are friends together and making people's lives miserable together, know that they're not going to be together forever. You know, because I had one friend that kind of was alright, but she was mean with the other girl that was mean to me. And, you know, now they're not friends anymore. And what happened is that know that, you know, if one day their wedding comes, they're not going to invite the girl who was mean. They're probably going to invite you out of surprise. They're going to be like, because they know that you're such a nice girl. They know that when people were rude to you, you know, you weren't rude back. Like, you didn't fight, like, in terms of physical fight back. So you're actually gonna be the one that they're gonna keep in their books, and that's crazy. The next thing that I told you is try and forgive. Find a place in your heart to forgive them and pray for them. I mean, I'm a Christian, so that's how I work. So I pray for them, and that kind of, and even if you're not Christian, that really leaves a burden off you, because then you just leave it in God's hands. You try not to revenge, and I think that revenge actually kind of kill your joy and kind of waste your time as well. You know, so just don't try to keep bitterness in your heart as well, because bitterness kills your joy so much. So bitterness is a poison, so don't keep bitterness in your heart. And if you're one of those people that used to bully, definitely go and ask for forgiveness in a bit. I mean, go and ask for forgiveness if you can, and just change out of your ways, and yeah. Yesterday I went around and asked people around my age, you know, if they've ever faced rejection and how they got over it, and I got some comments, and I'll kind of recite them to you right now. So a girl called Monica, but I forgot her name, yeah. She told me that it's very important to go through the stages, that it's okay to cry, whichever way you got rejected. That experience, yeah, made her a stronger person. Like, she doesn't really care anymore now. It's definitely okay to let out. That's what she told me. And you have to realize that in life, not everybody is going to like you, and let it be okay. I asked a guy, and he went through rejection, obviously, and you know, what he said is that it's not easy, but let it go. Just let it go. And obviously there's some people that find it easier to let it go than others, but he just told you that you've got it in you, just let it go, and it makes you a stronger person. Another person, yeah, his name is Steven. He told me sometimes rejection happens in the mind. For him, it was in the case of racism, because of the friends, the people he hanged out with. Sometimes, you know, he thought that people were being racist when they were being mean, but actually what he told me is that sometimes it's in the mind. It's not because someone is being mean to you that it means that they're racist, or you know, that, you know, sometimes it's in your mind, and that's what he told me. So it's all about hanging out with the people that won't make you feel like everyone is being rude towards you. Another thing that he told me is that if you want to avoid being rejected, first of all, accept yourself, because the opposite of rejection is acceptance. If you do not accept yourself, for every rejection you would believe, for every bad thing that is spoken to you, you would believe. So great. So guys, as I said, Inspire is all about interaction. So leave your comments about your experiences and maybe how you got over it, and I will recite them in my next video. Thank you so much guys for watching. Follow me on, like me on Facebook, and I'll create my Instagram page soon, so you have to follow me there as well. And thank you so much guys for watching. Bye.